A very good day to you and welcome to another episode of 30 Years of Democracy, where we sit down with South Africans who are making a difference in the country as we celebrate 30 years into democracy. My name is Innocentia Ngadimeng and I'm joined by one individual who's been using his voice to make that difference. However, his surname has sparked a lot of attention as many questioned his identity. I'm speaking about the one and only Mayibuye Mandela. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, thank you.
How are you?
It's nice. I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm quite surprised how you introduced me. So I will say controversial, but I'm happy that I'm making an impact and that is seen in the country that I'm doing an impact and change.
All right.
Thank you.
First thing first, one question that most people have been asking themselves is, how are you related to the late Nelson Mandela?
Okay. I've seen that question, but I think I responded to you when I said I don't owe anyone any explanation. My surname is Mayibuye. My name is Mayibuye. Traditional name is Mayibuye Mandela. So, most people have this idea that Mandela comes from Nelson Mandela. You see, they don't know that there is a history behind the surname of Mandela. It was also his surname, also his father's surname. So it's a house in the royal family of Abatembu. If you would recall, we come from the royal kingdom of Isizwe Sabatembu, led by His Majesty, the King of Abatembu, Zwelibanzi Dalindyebo, in the Eastern Cape, in Umtata, is based in Umtata. The royal palace is in Ibumbane. King Gubengcuka had 5 sons. In those 5 sons that the king had, the great house was Umtokaka. Usually people say in Tikaka, it's Umtokaka. And then there's Mnqanqeni, there's Joey, there's Mnqanqeni, there's Smakade. And then from the most junior house, it was Mandela. It is Mandela who gave birth to Harry Gadla Mphakanyiswa. Harry Gadla Mphakanyiswa ka Mandela, because it's how it was identified, because the junior house was Mandela, you see. On the royal house of the junior house of the Abatembu, it was Gadla who gave birth, was along Mandela, and then Mandela to Rolihlahla, and then Rolihlahla's father had it was a polygamist, you see, as even the name says, Abatembu, who had 4 wives and many children. You see, from those children, Nelson had sisters, Nelson had brothers from those children. So it's where my legacy falls, you see. So I may not need to explain, for an example, my mother is not a person that likes media, you see. And people that are very close to me are not the persons that are not the people that love media. But if people do their research properly, and start to understanding. I'm one of the first Mandelas, if you know, originally, before we were exiled to Qunu, we came from Umvezo. Umvezo, it's where Nelson was born. That's where our original as the Royal House of Mandela came from. So Umvezo, I was the only one after the struggle for liberation who started doing amasiko, traditional customary things that we usually do, like, for an example, traveling long distance, going to the mountain. You see, if you go, there was an article, I think, on Daily Dispatch, a brother called Lulamile Feni, I think is still on the day. He was the one who covered that ceremony, which was led by my uncle, which is Umandla Mandela, which everyone knows was in parliament. You see, he was the one who raised me as a young child, because my parents were absent, you see. So at times it's very difficult to try and explain to people my traditions, whereas their own traditions they don't understand, and try to question other people's traditions and customs, you see.
Just to take you back a little bit, Mayibuye. So you said your sister, your mother, who is Mandela's sister.
No, not my mother.
Whose mother is?
There's an article also recently, 2 days ago, said I'm a nephew of Nelson. I'm not.
Can you just explain in simple terms how you are related to
Baliwe
Mandela?
Nelson had from the third wife of Harry Gadla Mphakanyiswa, had a sister. The sister was unmarried. The sister was called Baliwe Mandela. You see. So I come from that lineage.
Oh.
You see. So if you say one must not call himself a Mandela. I was born in a Mandela family. The traditions and customs are coming from the Mandela. And actually, it's not that I'm happy that I am happy. But according to how we are living in South Africa, it gives me much more problems as a young person. There are certain things that I can't do.
Yeah.
There are things that I can't be seen doing, you see. I can't just move around and take a taxi, you see. It comes with, yes, most will think it's this surname that he wants to use and benefit. It's not like that in South Africa. I will use it internationally, where I can make money, not in South Africa. So it limits you from certain things, you see. And most people think he's given a voice just because he's a Mandela, you see. So, and if you go back, I've explained who's Nelson Mandela and how the Mandela name came to about, you see. Yes, I'm known of being a great-grandson of Nelson Mandela. Yes, I am the great-grandson of Nelson Mandela, you see. Traditionally, otherwise, or whatever, you can do anything that you want, you see. And it's not going, those discussions are not going to put bread and milk on my table. Those discussions are not going to feed my family, my own family that I've created currently, you see.
Yeah. Have you ever met Nelson Mandela?
I grew up, I was in Ekunu, I've been, I was staying to Ekunu in the homestead Ekunu. That's where I was staying.
Yeah. So you've had a close relationship with him. You grew up around him, and
I can't claim and say it's a close relationship. We had a family relationship like anyone else. You go to dinner, you go for breakfast, you will meet him, and actually Nelson was too old, you see, because actually also growing up, I spent most of my time in the Western Cape, in Cape Town. You see, and then I came back, and then another time that I had a catch up, it was from 2011. From 2011 till 2013, I was in Kunu. Nelson Mandela was staying in Kunu from 2011.
Okay.
2011, 2012, and then he would travel to see doctors from Kunu to Johannesburg, Kunu to Johannesburg, you see.
And how do you feel about people on social media and everywhere else you go questioning your identity?
The thing is, I've learned something, you see. Twitter is toxic and other social medias are toxic.
Yeah.
I've learned something not to read comments, you see. I've learned something. I would go to a mall at times. I have some other socials like Facebook, and I've recently opened Twitter like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I would meet people and say, hi, comrade, are you Mr. Mandela? And hey, you are mistaking me. I know you are you. And then that person will take a picture, and then it will, with me, for an example, you see. And then that person will tag me. And then I will make a research about that particular person that was all smiles and what you call. And find out this person is the same person that was insulting me.
But why are you hiding it? Why are you not embracing being a Mandela in public?
In public?
Yeah.
No, for an example, if I'm looking for a beautiful girlfriend, let's say at some stage, and then I said I'm Mayibuye Mandela. So I must know, people think this Mandela surname, the Mandela surname comes with millions. It's going to be showered with millions and billions of friends, you see. So the person must not love where I come from. The person must love me.
You.
Just as being me.
And on that, who is Mayibuye Mandela?
Mayibuye Mandela is I'm an ideologist. I myself, I believe in myself. I'm a person who loves the people of this country, in particular black people, you see. I'm a person who wants to see change in my country. I'm a person who believes in that people must be educated politically, so to understand the current situation and the exploitation of our own people by our own people, you see. So I'm a voice of the voiceless, the marginalized, the downtrodden, the unemployed.
All right, let me take it back to the Mandela issue. Since have you spoken or had feedback from the Mandela family since you've been dominating headlines? Do you have any words from them? Maybe are they proud of what you're doing in the society, or do they feel like you're bringing the surname into disrepute?
You must remember, when you are fighting something, there is no one that's going to like you, but once you win the struggle that you are fighting.
Yeah.
it is then when people are start going to be embracing you. One must remember, Nelson all over the world, he was regarded as a terrorist, fighting for justice, fighting for people, fighting for liberation of this country, and to the extent that he was in prison. But today, he's the most famous man after Jesus Christ. He's the most famous, you see, due to his work. Nobel Peace Prize, well respected. Every country has its own state, Nelson Mandela statue, but you see where it comes from. But I've never had any disputes, you see, because we have conversations, we do different things in our own way. If I'm passionate about fighting for this country, I must let be fighting for this country. It's the same name. It's not that I'm bringing down the Mandela name. I'm fighting for the cause, for a cry of our people. If one questions me, Nguti, Mayibuye, why are you doing this? It's very easy to explain. This is my, you see. Then as parents, they will be able, and as elders, you see, and say, no, Mayibuye, don't do this. Do it like this. Like my grandmother, Magaziwe Mandela. Like on Sundays at times, we usually have dinner. He was explaining to me, Ukuti, no, I didn't understand how this thing of young people works in the country, because the government usually talks about young people, you see. So I explained, Ukuti, this is what's going on in the country. This is what we believe in. And he has no dispute against that. And I'm doing that under my own organization at times, you see. The Mayibuye Mandela Foundation. I have two organizations. Another one is political, another one is international.
All right, we'll talk more about those two organizations just a moment. But let's move over to your role in the political landscape. You've criticized the GNU. You have stood firmly about the inclusion of youth in parliament. You have, not only that, but you have also stood against some of the social ills that the youth and South Africans in general face in South Africa. Can you tell me more about that?
Let's start with the GNU.
Yeah.
The government of so-called the government of national unity. Government of national unity is made up of 50 plus 1. If the ANC, let's say, won elections, 50 plus 1, they won election, they are the ruling party. Then we'll invite other political parties with no screens attached and say, no, let's govern this together and work it. That is the government of national unity. This is the grand collusion, you see, which is, you will see, one disputing that this is not a government of national unity. But now it comes with people that are dictating policies. Right before elections, the Democratic Alliance banned a flag of the Republic of South Africa. Literally, that literally means they were declaring war with the citizens of the Republic of South Africa. And then you take them and put them in government and give them very important positions, you see, to be able to keep our people in poverty, to be able to keep our people in hunger and exploit our condition. We know, everyone knows the mentality of the DA, how they think. Because of their supremacy, you see, they always think that everyone must follow what they say. For an example, are they now threatening ANC in Tshwane? They are threatening ANC. These people called for a war against the citizens of South Africa before elections when they banned a flag. A flag, when it's banned, it's a declaration of war. They declared war. But today, you put them in government when they never apologized for that, whether they were never charged of that. You see, they were perpetuating actually violence. You see, if people on the streets went out on that day, because even also in South Africa, we fail to understand at times the importance of the flag. There are people, gallant heroes and heroines who perished fighting for this country, that died for us to have that flag. The same DA comes and you call. We know that the DA is a racist organization full of white arrogance, promoting white supremacy in this country of ours. Natasha, the lady with the big lips on Natasha Mazo something, was in parliament of the DA. She tweeted a few years ago that even how racist we are, black people still follow us, you see. There is a quote, one of the global icons once said that in 2000 that the DA is the party of white bosses that only knows black people or the dawn of elections. And people that were supporting that thing are stooges, you see. So we know how they treat our people. You take them, you put them in the education, you nationalize them and put them as the Minister of Education. Although it's a black woman, but she's a stooge, she's used. For an example, Western Cape, it used to be number one in terms of entry examinations, which is matric.
Yeah.
It used to be number one. Today it's number 5, number 6. After 18 years since they've governed, you see. Those people have took the basic education and put it under the floor. And then you're taking the same people to nationally. The same people that don't believe that there must be a decolonial free education in our country. People who don't believe in free education for our country. And then you still give them the power to run our education. What's going to happen in the next 5 years? What's going to happen in the next 2 years? You see, people that are saying we must wait, this thing is going to collapse. It takes a day or 2 or 3 to destroy a country, but it takes years and centuries to rebuild it.
True. And would you have supported the GNU if the DA was not part of the coalition?
If it was, yes, I would have supported that black progressive parties to run this country.
Can you give me examples which you would have preferred, maybe?
There is the ATM. There is the EFF. There is the AMK in this country.
And why do
there
you
is the
feel
newly the colored Congress, NCC.
Okay.
You see, there is the PAC.
Is it about the color or is it about the party's policies that they carry?
It's not only about the color. You must remember the ANC on its own, and even the EFF, non-sexist, non-racial. It's not about the color, but the DA is the party that handles itself as superior than black people. The problem is not about white people. The problem is about white people who think they are superior than another person due to the perpetuation of the color of their skin. And the ones that were refusing that, they were wrong. And they are refusing to return the land of our ancestors.
All right. And where do you stand? Are you an ANC member?
I'm not a member of any political party, but I support the black progressive. The progressive is not the black, it's the progressive left politics of this country. It's those that who speak that we must have free decolonial education in this country. It's those that who speak the land must be returned to its rightful owners, you see. It's those who talk about the empowerment of the marginalized, the downtrodden, you see. The hopeless masses of our people, you see.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I support. Those are the people that I believe in. That is why I have never declared my vote in these past elections. I splitted my vote, but I can't even give a hint who did I vote for punitive reasons.
But I'm sure you remember.
I know, but I can't just share it. Uguti, this is what I voted for, because I don't want myself to be found in a situation whereby I align with certain people. I don't align. If I have to criticize the EFF, I respectfully do it so. If I have to criticize the MK, I respectfully do so and say, no, I don't agree with this. You see, according to my own view and opinion at times, we are entitled, in fact, we are obliged, even under the Constitution, to raise such, you see. So it's those black people that I believe in. But I also don't believe in this thing of having too many political parties in South Africa, more especially in the marginalized and the ones that were oppressed, which is black people. Black people, this thing of them opening political parties now and then, sharing the same sentiments and ideologies. It's a problem. It's what divides us than unites us, you see. For an example now, imagine how many people and representatives of different political black people in South Africa. If they would be united under one roof, the land would have been returned. But now they are, even if they agree in the same, but they don't want to be seen as people that will agree with each other. How many white political parties in South Africa? There are 2, which is the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front plus the Buren. You see. So those 2 parties, they know what they're doing in the country. They tell you, they gave us the right of opening political parties whenever we feel like. If I wake up in the 2 and say, no, I'm running a political party, my deputy will be Innocentia. I have a right to do that. But they don't do that themselves because they know it will split their unity. Now, that is where we are all over.
And how do you feel about the current state of the ANC today?
It's quite sad, more especially when you look at it, even its name, not talking about it, what's happening, what they're doing wrong. Ne?
Yeah.
One would say that there's nothing African about African National Congress today.
Is it?
You see, it's like they alienate from who they are. They've lost the spirit of being African. They don't believe in our people, you see.
Why do you say that?
Our people have been, we've been in the democracy for the past 30 years. But poverty escalates. Every day poverty rises in this country.
Yeah.
But you are able, as a government, which is the ANC, you are able to hold just a meeting for 4 billion. And people are just going to have KFC, streetwise too. But our people are hungry. This government doesn't invest in our people. This government doesn't believe in young people. You make a leadership, you can't put a leader that doesn't identify with young people's problem. Our problems are not the problems of 1976. They are today. You don't have a problem of Afrikaans, for an example. But today, you will find, in this, for an example, you go to the Minister of Youth. How old is the Minister of Youth? Does the Minister of Youth understands our problems? Is the Minister of Youth walking the journey with the young people of South Africa? Does the Minister of Youth understand what is disability? Does the Minister of Youth identifies with what is disability? I think he will only understand the women's side, you see. We need people, fresh minds, people who understand what is the problems of our people. If you go to Kailicha today, if you go to Nyanga, if you go to Guguletu, as a young person, you go to clubs, you go late at night and go out and see how our people are living. Even when you wake up in those spaces, one part of me dies each and every day. If I visit those spaces, one part of me dies because our people are placed in the condition of subhuman existence. The living condition is not of a human. You see?
Yeah.
And then our young people, we are the ones that don't understand what we want. You understand as a young person, you understand what young people want, what challenges young people are facing, and what we can do to win the struggle of young people. An 80-year-old, a 17-year-old, 70-year-old won't have that. It was youth way years before, long time ago, before even the struggle for liberation. You can't put that person in power. I have nothing against the current minister of that department, but I have a problem with the other duties that he was given of young people. We talk about empowering youth, but you don't take youth to go and speak about these issues and try and challenge these. You are excluding young people, you see. So that literally means the struggle was fought for older people that are in parliament only and their families. But it was not that. It was fought for the people of the Republic of South Africa. It was fought for us. Now they are refusing to give us the baton when they were coming from the atrocities, when they were beaten by white people. They came out and said, "No, we are passing the baton to you. Continue, a luta continua." You see, but they are not. They don't want us to be part of these discussions of developing this country. Buyisela Ndlozi once asked a person that was a deputy president of this country, a leader once, he asked a leader, what is the fourth industrial revolution? He couldn't understand what is it. He couldn't explain it, you see, because they don't identify the time. The brain gets tired.
So what is the biggest fight that you want to tackle? What are you passionate about? What impact would you like to make in this country?
Our young people need to take over the country, because if we don't, from those who fought for the liberation, it was not for them, it was to create. Lenin says, give me young people, I will change the whole world, you see. So what I want is that young people must be involved in the decision making of this country. Young people must be put in the forefront because they are the future of this country. I once had I was invited in Parliament, I think last year. I was invited in Parliament to listen to a debate with quite a very beautiful woman, which I respect very much, Lindiwe Zulu. Of the ANC, was the Minister of Young People. After that, we had a discussions. How do you, Minister, create a capacity with young people? You can't give us 350 rand, or you can't do this, and then you just give us and then you let us go. And we are the ones that who in future gonna fill into your shoes. Create a capacity of walking the journey with us young people, showing us the way, teaching this office is about this is what we do, this is what. Create that capacity. The minister did it, the former minister. Although that I still don't agree with the positions of that youth goes in that same portfolio. I want to see my people free, really free. We are not free. We are even now oppressed by our own people, by our own government who fought for the liberation of South Africa. You see.
And what are you doing as Mayibuye to make sure that happens? I understand you spoke about the 2 organizations that you have started. Can you just tell me more about those?
Actually, the Mayibuye Mandela Foundation is old. If one would remember, during COVID, I had a march of unemployment, took it to the Constitutional Court, sent our memorandum there that you must declare unemployment as a crime against humanity. Where did I take that from? I took it from the Freedom Charter, which the Freedom Charter, the preamble says that everyone shall, you see. So if people now, more than like the country is not working, it's a crime, because the Freedom Charter is adopted, is the same that goes hand in hand with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, you see. Yeah. But our people are still unemployed, you see. We must fight against the high rate of unemployment. We must create a situation whereby everyone is able to afford bread and milk on the table. There is a lady called Thokozani Ngwangu, you see. I saw it a few days ago. It was on the news. This woman was crying, literally crying. Oh, good, I don't have anything. Please give me anything. There's no one. There's no official that went there. There's no one that has said, okay, we're going to assist you. But yes, they do assist people once they see them on TV because they don't want to be embarrassed, you see. Yeah. We need to take over this country. We need to take it. If they are refusing, we will take it down to its knees. We are the laborers of this country. We are the people of this country. This is our country. And you can't have a generation which you don't motivate and you don't want to speak to. But that generation we want after you die, we must take over the country. How are we going to take over the country when you don't want us being part of you today? We pay tax in this country, huge amounts of tax deducted. The president once raised the tax with a full tax percentage, vetted the value-added tax with a full percentage. In 1993, when white people were still in government, they raised the tax with a 0.5%, 0.5, you see. White people were crying, were angry, saying, what is this government doing? Now, when people are hungry, very hungry, you raise a tax, a value-added tax, with a full percentage. That's the problem. Yeah. The problem is from the minister of the office of the finance ministers, how they run these things, you see. Government has become a business today. It's not for the people. It's about tenders. It's about who gets what. It's about money transfer from each other. It's not about our people. It's not about the representation of our people. We've been hearing this thing that when there are elections, we're going to build schools, we're going to come with what, we're going to, have they done that? We're going to build hospitals, we're going to, higher rate of unemployment is going to go down. It's not happening. It's never going to happen. It's an old saying of campaigning. We don't want jobs. We want to own the land. We want the mines, you see, because we've been told that these things, the jobs are going to come. They haven't come even today.